Hello. I just watched a attempt at a review of this particular bike by a feller who needs to be obsessed with facts rather than what he thinks he knows, because he states that it's got an awesome exhaust sound, yet it's the intake that he's hearing that Kawasaki specifically designed to make that howl. And he says it's non-adjustable. Well, as far as I can tell, this has got Kawasaki's big piston fully adjustable fork up front, as well as a fully adjustable shock in the rear. And those are pretty important features. Now, there are also features like this. If you can see those nice couplings right there. And also, he seemed to be having a little bit of trouble moving the mirrors. Yeah, that's right. They don't move like that. What they do is they move like an awesome painted quality mirror. No, the Suzuki that he said is about the same does not have that, nor does it have that pretty much custom seat with a Z in it. And this bike is $2,000 more unless you get one for the same price as the Suzuki like I did, $99.99. So, and you can find those deals, so it's nothing special to me. Let me see what else here. It's got a quicker 0 to 60 time than the Suzuki. As a matter of fact, it's got a quicker 0 to 60 time than even the BMW. It's not quite as fast top end as the BMW, I will say. But for, you know, I mean, I guess they say that the BMW can be had for $13,500, yet my local dealer has them for $15,800 because he only gets them fully equipped. And that's the only way he will get them. And I don't know if that's a BMW thing or if it's just a his thing. But anyhow, yeah, I mean, you can't, that's the thing. I mean, I'm seeing these $25,000 bikes like the Ducatis and the, you know, Aprilias and things like that be compared to bikes that, you know, I got that one, my ZX-10, for $11,000 even. They are normally $14,300. That bike has, you know, I mean, it's proven. You know, the John Rhee and Tom Sykes, they've won on that bike for the last few years in the World Superbike Series. You know, it's as good as anything out there. I've never ridden a bike that I like more than that ZX-10. Sorry to my other two, but that bike has got just an amazing quality. And I'm seeing that bike compared to bikes that cost literally, you know, double in the Ducati's case. You know, there's just no way you can say that, because if you're going to put that kind of money into any bike, I mean, that bike would literally be race quality with just, you know, better shocks, which I'm going to get off topic a bit and say the new ZX-10, if you're not up to date on it, is got the same kind of computer things that everybody seems to be all hard over the Yamaha R1 for, as far as that track, you know, showing you your lean angle and whatever else it does. But it has got gas shocks front and rear. And, you know, the carburetor, I mean, it's all just top quality. I mean, absolutely top of the line, straight from the race team stuff on that new ZX-10. And it's still under $16,000, which it's a bit more than I would pay for it, but compared to everything else out there, you know, you're getting the top, you know, they only come one way, and that's the way they should be. You don't have to buy a $20,000 bike with the best suspension kind of bullshit, which is what I hate, you know. I mean, if you want to sell me a cheap bike, sell me a cheap bike. You know, make what you should be making in the best form that it can be in, and, you know, do it for a reasonable amount. I mean, those bikes were selling, you know, 10 years ago for about $10,000. Now everything is pretty much doubled, you know, except for, you know, I guess Honda, but they haven't really been in the game much. The old R1, that was definitely out. But, you know, when they revamp these bikes and then they double the price tag just because, I mean, they're really not giving them a hell of a lot more. Well, I guess I can't say that now because everything's supposed to be 200 horsepower now, including that new ZX-10. But for a long time, the prices were going up and up and up, and all they were really doing is putting the little few tidbits and gadgets here and there. In the last 5 years, they really haven't gotten any lighter. As a matter of fact, in most cases, you know, they've gotten heavier, which, besides the Ducati, even the new R1, according to Cycle World, that ZX-10 is like 7-8 pounds lighter. And that was with the ABS. So a standard one is going to be a few pounds. That one is a standard. It's not the ABS. These bikes do come with ABS, on the other hand, which is another thing that he neglected to tell you about. I've actually seen a couple of vloggers do tests, and if you want to get a good overlay of what this bike is all about, go to Mainland Cycle Center or Weekly Rides with Ruben. You watch those two and you'll be sold on this bike. They tell you everything you need to know about it. It does have a valve in one side of the exhaust for your low-end power. They are a bit narrower for 14. This bike was redesigned in 14, in case you're not aware, as was the Ninja 1000, you know, the regular Ninja, not the ZX. The only difference between this bike and the regular Ninja, this one doesn't have any rider aids as to where the Ninja does. So if you are after a bit more of a touring bike with a little bit more forgiving suspension, that would be the bike to go for, the Ninja. Same power. This bike does have a perfectly straight torque curve, even flatter than the Triumph, like I've mentioned in the past, which shows the versatility of an inline 4. It's geared really low, so you're not going to get bored, I can guarantee that. And there was one other thing I was going, oh, it's got the fat bars, which is kind of a nice little, you know, again, touch of quality. As you can tell, that reservoir is smoked. And I've got the carbon fiber little screen there. And you can get some pretty funky looking tall screens for them as well. LED lights all the way around, which is another thing you're not going to get on the Suzuki. The dash, it tells you, I mean, it doesn't have a gear indicator, but it's got a couple trips, it's got your temperature, it's got a clock. You know, it's LED up here and then regular digital down here. Everything's very easy to read. It's got a gas gauge. You know, like I was showing the other day too, that key, I mean, look at how nice that is. It's got the Z emblem on it, you know. That's just nice when you get into it. Everything does work really well on it. I mean, it's definitely not as refined as the ZX-10. But you definitely can drag a knee. It'll do, if you had to live with this bike alone, you would be absolutely, you know, ecstatic every day, you know. The only reason I got that ZX-10 is because it's always been a bit of a boner maker for me. And I I got a chance to get a really good deal. Like I mean, I thought 3,400 off was too good to pass up. And I had some other stuff, a four-wheeler and a dirt bike that I traded. And I really didn't need either one of those, so I got what I really wanted with it. But that one there, oh no, this is actually the one that I traded the two things for. And I traded my CBR for this ZX-10. But, yeah, I mean, everything is awesome. It's got incredible brightness at night out of the, you know, it's got 4 bulbs, I guess, up front. And they really cut through the fog and everything very nicely. It's got that really nice parallel fork for taking off. You know, it's kind of the same design that Ducati started with. And, like I said, you know, you've got your adjustments. Yeah, I mean, it's a monster. It's definitely the scariest bike. I mean, you can be riding along and hit a bump. Like a lot of the times I'll ride it with just my fingertips on the end of the throttle, just cruising. And if you just barely blip that throttle, it will jerk your whole body. So it's definitely one you don't want to fall asleep on. And it's got a pretty sexy, I mean, look at that LED setup. And I don't even mind the looks of this. I know a lot of guys got to have the fender eliminator, which this tail is incredible for that. Because, I mean, that thing would definitely look a lot meaner. And it's something I might do. I don't really care for messing with bikes too much. As a matter of fact, I was just reading that the bike manufacturers are getting really pissed of all these computer tampering deals, like flashing the ECU, because they believe that they own the ECU and all the, you know, technology on it. So they're going to be making it a law pretty soon that you can't even mess with them. Which, I mean, if the bikes that you buy today aren't enough for you, then you better get your ass on the track, kind of thing, you know. So yeah, I mean, if you need an extra 10-20 miles per hour, you know, I mean, I get it, but you certainly don't need it. If you master that bike in its original form, or any of these bikes in their original form, then you're going to be one impressive son of a gun. That is all. Speaking of effed up reviews, that is, of course, a horizontal rear shock on the Z1000. As it is on the ZX-10. And there's my new Cowie watch. I just got it today. Awesome. Also, a couple features about that ZX-10. The foot pegs and the swing arm is adjustable. And it's got the titanium headers. But the new ZX-10, I don't believe the swing arm is adjustable. And that seems like a huge advantage, because it's got a 56-inch wheelbase, but if you shorten it up, it's 55.5, which is the same as like a CBR 600 or most 600s, you know, sport bikes. The wet weight of the bike is 437 pounds, which is pretty phenomenal. And just look at how good they look up there together. Inspire. That's what they do. They inspire. Yeah. That's got the electric steering damper as well. It's got a cassette style gearbox. And you can take that right out without even having to change your oil to change your internal gear ratios. It's a serious track bike. I don't think it really gets much better. And with all the gadgetry on the new one, I just ain't into it, you know. That bike is as good as you would ever need. If you master that, you're the man.